This is the newsroom for today, Tuesday, December 29, 2020. We're broadcasting to you on E1, Scar TV, NTN, and Tarzi TV in Bartica. In headlines, government hopes for new adult vaccination law ahead of COVID-19 vaccine rollout.
The bill really, I think, it's really trying to provide for or fixing that gap that we have in our legislation.
Major U.S. Coast Guard ship to sail into Guyana for operation against illegal fishing. The prison's director says the 65 prisoners released back in November had almost completed their sentence. Roadmap to reduce scams and assist home builders launched. And in sport, several West Indies players pull out of Bangladesh tour. Spinner Veersamy Permaul gets test recall. With the news, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. We started by telling you that the Guyana government is looking to close a gap in the country's vaccination laws that addresses adult vaccination ahead of the countrywide rollout of a COVID-19 vaccine. Guyana only has laws that address vaccination for children. No law was ever put in place for the vaccination of adults. The Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, during his daily COVID-19 update on Tuesday, said the coronavirus immunization bill will be brought before the National Assembly in early 2021 by the government. He said the government would welcome the input of the parliamentary opposition once the piece of draft legislation comes up for debate in the House. He explained that the existing legislation that addresses children will remain in place without amendments, while new legislation to deal with adults will be put in place. Dr. Anthony said he doesn't anticipate any challenges to the passage of the legislation as Guyana prepares to conduct its rollout of COVID-19 vaccines next year. He said the legislation is important since the COVID-19 vaccine, unlike other vaccines, targets adults. Dr. Anthony explained that the new legislation is not to force vaccines on anyone, but rather to guide the process of vaccination among adults, something the country never had before.
Means that we've drafted a special piece of legislation that deals with immunization of adults. And that's what I spoke about. Early in the new year, we want to bring that bill to Parliament. I suspect once it's laid, as is normal with other bills, you would have a minimum of 7 days for everyone in the Parliament to peruse the bill, to familiarize themselves with the content of the bill, and then we go into a discussion on the bill. So that would be the second reading, and then you do third reading. So there can be a ventilation of ideas in the Parliament, and people might have different opinions as to what they would like to see in the bill. And those things would come out on the floor in the discussions and in the debates that would follow. And then we try to take that and move the process forward. So the bill really, I think, it's really trying to provide for or fixing that gap that we have in our legislation. And so I don't anticipate too many challenges with it, but you never know.
Guyana will access a COVID-19 vaccine through the COVAX mechanism, which was launched in April 2020 by the World Health Organization, the WHO, the Vaccine Alliance, and the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations in response to the pandemic. This mechanism seeks to ensure people in all parts of the world are able to access COVID-19 vaccines once they are available. In the meantime, on the setting up of the National Vaccine Task Force, Minister Anthony said the private sector and other civil society bodies will lead in this major logistical undertaking. The USCGC Stone, one of the U.S. Coast Guard's flagship vessels, will sail into Guyanese waters as part of an operation against illegal fishing that covers the South Atlantic region. In a statement, the U.S. Coast Guard said the exercise is intended to counter illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing while strengthening relationships for maritime sovereignty and security throughout the region. The brand new Legend-class national security cutter, one of the U.S. Coast Guard's flagships, will provide a presence and support national security objectives throughout the Atlantic. The exercise will cover Guyana, Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina, and Portugal. The Coast Guard said Operation Southern Cross is conducted in conjunction with the U.S. Southern Command, charged with managing operations in Central and South America by working collaboratively to ensure the Western Hemisphere is secure, free, and prosperous. Ministers of Housing and Water Colin Crowell and Suzanne Rodrigues on Tuesday distributed 300 house lots at 5 different locations in Region 6. The exercise was hosted at the University of Guyana State campus and is a continuation of similar exercises held in Regions 3 and 4. The residents have all expressed gratitude to the government for helping them to realize their dreams.
I'm very excited to actually own peace, or like to be allotted or to be considered as an allotted person. And I'm very excited because me and my husband, we are both teachers, and we applied since 2009, and we were anxiously waiting for this moment for years now, and it finally, well, the dream finally realized. So we are very grateful for this.
10 years.
10 years. So
Yeah.
what's going to be your next move?
Well, I'm going to try to see my land, where is it, try to get it clean and start my home.
Nesema sulang yit me says me glad because my children work hard, and me feel happy today.
Today signaled the final round of the distribution of, as stated, of 300 house lots to be made available to persons of whom are waiting a while in the system. And so while Minister Rodriguez gave a tally of 3,500, the staff were able to dig a little more to see, based on the relooking at the boundaries and some of the parameters, we were able to squeeze in another 100. So the total allocations we'll be making within those three regions will accumulate to 3,600.
Affordable housing is something that we have a mandate in which to provide you with. And so we take that commitment very seriously. And I hope that this exercise and our track record, not only of the Ministry of Housing and Water, but our government, all the things that you have seen and read about that our government has been doing, I hope that you take confidence in that and that you trust that this government will deliver for you.
When the newsroom returns, the Director of Prisons defends the early release of 65 prisoners. Stay tuned. This is the Newsroom. More than a month after the Guyana Prison Service released 65 non-violent offenders, the new Acting Director of Prisons, Nicklon Elliott, is defending the decision. In a statement on Tuesday, which was signed by Elliott, the Prison Service said it notes with some concern attempts on social media by some persons to deliberately misconstrue and to cast aspersions on the acts of the special remissions. The statement sought to clarify that a special remission was granted to deserving inmates based on the time served, good behavior, and rehabilitation. The time remaining on the sentence served by these inmates was below 3 months for all cases considered, the prison director clarified. He said, too, that the offences for which the special remission was granted were included 5 persons for major, 9 for serious, and 51 for minor. The prison directorate reiterated that the inmates were selected based on the time served in prison and are considered not likely to be of a risk to society. The Competition and Consumer Affairs Commission on Tuesday launched the Home Builders Roadmap, which seeks to not only protect consumers from fraud, but help them in ensuring that quality homes are built. The roadmap, which includes the requirements for building a home, contractors, and other guidelines, was hosted at Duke Lodge, Georgetown, where the Acting Consumer Affairs Officer, Rosanta Perry, noted that the program is as a result of several complaints received from home builders. Director Fiona Austin Paul pointed out that the construction sector contributes 8% revenue to the country's gross domestic product, GDP.
Our goal as an institution is to ensure that there's a level playing field for all stakeholders, whether the relationship be a competitive nature or whether it's a consumer-supplier relationship. Ultimately, consumers must not be disenfranchised in any way, regardless of what the situation may be, and there must not be any infringements of the law. But why are we at this juncture? An analysis of the complaints brought to the CCAC concerning domestic construction, along with other unofficial reports, have revealed the abuses of consumers through shoddy work done by contractors in this industry, some which can be considered a threat to the safety of consumers. The Commission therefore recognizes that providing a source of redress was not enough. We needed to take an ex-ante approach by empowering consumers to make wise decisions before and even during the building process?
Through the roadmap, we will be guiding consumers of the different ways, whether it's through the government or through private purchase of acquiring a land. So they will be able to get all the information that is needed in one centralized location. Because you don't want, after you move in, then you encounter problems and it's hard to prove if it was incurred by you or if it was the contractor that caused it. And so it's very important, do your final walkthrough. And so this is so important for consumers. And as I said, it's only our hope that consumers will utilize this information because it will be very beneficial to them, because so many persons have called us, asking for guidance. And so all the information is here in one centralized location. And so, yes, so over the years, we have received complaints varying from poor construction work. We had complaints in relation to as simple as a step being built without a steel or without any steel being used because the consumer failed to provide it. The contractor went ahead knowing that this is what should have been done and build the step without steel. Most recently, we had a complaint with consumer having cupboards that were recently built. They did not even move into the houses yet, and all the wood, they're cracked because they used the poor quality wood, and it goes on. So because of that, as I said earlier, we realized we have to do something to guide. And one such important aspect is a contract. List the materials that you want the contractor to use so that when you file a complaint with us, we can go back and say, yes, the consumer said she wanted to use this, but you used it. So that is how the complaints have varied.
We tell you now that an existing tripartite agreement that guided medical training between University of Guyana, the Ministry of Health, and the Georgetown Public Hospital has been updated, promising profound improvements for medical education in Guyana. The new agreement was signed on Tuesday by the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, Vice Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Dr. Paloma Mohammed, and Chief Executive Officer of the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, retired Brigadier George Lewis. The agreement allows for medical students at the university to enjoy clinical rotation at the GPHC and other institutions under the Ministry of Health. Among the major achievements in the new 14-page document is the creation of a 9-member Joint Relations Committee, which will work over a number of years to ensure future medical education. The minister said the signing of the new agreement is a step in the right direction.
I see this as a stepping stone as we move forward in terms of doing more for medical education, and maybe this might be one of many agreements that we will have with the University of Guyana. Apart from doctors' education, we want to look at nurses and other categories of medical personnel, and I think this would give us a good template on which to work with the university. You know, the Ministry of Health, we do have a number of other training programs, but many of these programs have over the years been designed and run by the ministry itself. And I think in the world in which we live, a lot of people would like to see their certificates being accredited by a prestigious academic institutions such as the University of Guyana. So we need to collaborate in these areas so that we can lift the standards of some of the programs, make sure that it's more up to date with what is happening in the world and more relevant to the practice that would be required of those personnel that we train.
This is the newsroom. The Minister of Housing and Water, Colin Crowell, has said that the government has no plans to relocate more than a dozen families residing along the Conservancy Dam and Canal No. 1 Polder, Region 3. The minister said the families have been there for decades, and a recent assessment revealed that their presence did not affect the integrity of the dam, nor were they in imminent danger. He noted that the residents are not directly on the Conservancy. It is on the east of the Conservancy, and it is not directly affecting the Conservancy and that the dam of the Conservancy. Minister Crowell made these statements during the 15th sitting of the National Assembly on Monday in response to questions posed by the opposition Member of Parliament, Sherrod Duncan. Duncan asked why provisions were made for the Conservancy dam squatters if they were living there illegally.
Minister, does that extend to Conservancy Dam in Canal No. 1, where His Excellency recently gave water and light?
Honorable Minister.
There are about 13, I think about 13 in Canal number 1, and for which we have no intention of removing those persons there.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
Honorable Minister, are you telling this House that the government has no intention of moving the squatters from Conservancy Dam in Canal number 1, and that there's no provisions being made by the Honorable Minister and the government for the squatters at Success?
I'm not saying so. I'm saying that the area, the Conservancy Dam on Canal number 1, the area for which those persons are located, for which they are there over 30 years and more, and not directly on the Conservancy. It's on the east of the Conservancy, and it's not on directly affecting the Conservancy and the dam of the Conservancy, and the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, as well as the Central Housing and Planning team, visited that area, and that they have already identified that the area is not affected for where those persons that you're referring to at Canal number 1.
And President Irfan Ali was on Tuesday presented with the pioneering multi-purpose handheld medical device, the Vital 360, by US-based Guyanese doctor Dion Vigilance. President Ali expressed appreciation for the gift and was treated to a mini demonstration following the presentation at State House. The visiting doctor, who is a chief of cardiothoracic surgery at the Mercy Catholic Medical Center at the Mercy Fitzgerald campus in Pennsylvania, told the president that the device is revolutionary in the medical field. He said it has the capability to check 6 different vitals, including blood pressure, blood glucose, and blood oxygen, which can then be sent to any doctor or family member. The information can also be logged to electronic medical records. Now, the National Assembly has cleared an additional $53 million for the school uniform voucher distribution exercise for the hinterland schools at its 15th sitting on Monday. This sum covers an additional amount expended which was not covered under the $71 million allocated to the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs in the 2020 emergency budget. Subject Minister Pauline Sukai told the Assembly that the earlier provision covered the period January to September, while the supplementary fund would cover from October to December. A total of 31,055 hinterland students have benefited from the program to date. The government, in the Emergency Budget 2020, doubled the voucher to $4,000 per child in the public school system to help parents provide the necessary supplies for their children's education.
Thank you. I have the Honorable Member, Mr. Mahipon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Can the Honorable Minister say how many children in total are recipients of this allowance in Region 1, 7, 8, and 9, so the whole number, and then can she give a breakdown as to how many children are receiving it in Region 1, how many in Region 2, in Region 7, Region 8, and Region 9?
Mr. Speaker, I will provide the figures, but I've already also approved to lay over the numbers in a short period. Region 1, 1,833. Region 7, 569. Region 8, 751. Region 9, 1,812. That is nursery. For the primary, Region 1, 7,719. Region 7, 2,110. Region 8, 2,224. Region 9, 6,214. A total of 18,267 for that area. Mr. Speaker, with respect to secondary school children, Region 1, 3,329, Region 7, 562, Region 8, 1,369, Region 9, 2,563, a total of 7,823. With respect to the total, it adds up to 31,055 students.
You're watching the newsroom. Sport is on the other side of the break. Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We're starting off with some cricket news. The Cricket West Indies selection panel on Tuesday named the West Indies Test and ODI squads for the upcoming tour of Bangladesh. In the absence of several high-profile players, Craig Brathwaite and Jason Mohammed have been named captains for the two legs of the tour. West Indies are scheduled to play 3 ODIs and 2 Test matches in Chattogram and Dhaka. The West Indies touring party are due to arrive in Dhaka on January 10 and the series will run until February 15. The 2 Test matches will form part of the International Cricket Council's World Test Championship, and the 3 ODIs are the first matches in West Indies' ICC World Cup Super League campaign, with the opportunity to qualify for the ICC World Cup 2023. The following players declined the opportunity to tour due to COVID-19 related concerns or personal fears: Jason Holder, Kieran Pollard, Darren Bravo, Shamar Brooks, Ruston Chase, Sheldon Cottrell, Evan Lewis, Shea Hope, Shimron Hetmeyer, and Nicholas Puran. Fabian Allen and Shane Dowrich are unavailable due to personal reasons. The CWI COVID-19 policy allows any player to opt out of selection for an overseas tour only when based on the player's own safety fears or concerns. Such decisions will not impact their consideration for future selection, CWI said. The Test squad will be led by the experienced Craig Brathwaite, with Jermaine Blackwood as vice-captain. Former Trinidad and Tobago and West Indies A-team captain Jason Mohammed will lead the ODI team, with Sunil Ambrose as vice-captain. The West Indies Test squad reads Craig Brathwaite captain, Jermaine Blackwood vice-captain, and Nkrumah Bonner, John Campbell, Rakeem Cornwall, Joshua De Silva, Shannon Gabriel, Kaveem Hodge, Alzari Joseph, Kyle Mayers, Shane Mosley, Veersamy Pramal, Kimar Roach, Raymond Reefer, and Jamal Warrican. The West Indies ODI squad reads Jason Mohammed captain, Sunil Ambrose vice-captain, and Nkrumah Bonner, Joshua De Silva, Jamar Hamilton, Chamar Holder, Akil Hussain, Alzari Joseph, Kyle Mayers, Andre McCarthy, Kajan Otley, Rovman Powell, Raymond Reefer, Romario Shepard, and Hayden Walsh Jr. Meanwhile, Cricket West Indies chairman of selectors Roger Harper has clarified the situation regarding the omission of all-rounder Kemo Paul, along with the factors that led to the recall of spinner Veersamy Pramal to the West Indies squad for next month's tour to Bangladesh. Akim Green reports.
Paul is usually a regular in all 3 of the West Indies squads, and in recent series a consistent face in the playing 11 of the limited overs teams. The 20-year-old played in 2 of the 3 T20 internationals against New Zealand, but was overlooked for test selection due to what CWI media described as a groin injury. He did play in the 4-day match against New Zealand A, but only bowled 5 overs. In the Big Bash League, he has just played 1 match since December 19 for Hobart Hurricanes, bowling just 2 overs. According to Harper, the panel wants Paul to fully recuperate from his injuries for the busy 21 season.
We thought that we would give him an opportunity to get himself fully fit because he's been having some injury issues. We've got a lot of cricket slated for 2021, the new year ahead, especially in the Caribbean here. There's a lot of cricket ahead, and we want him to make sure that come the international scene in the Caribbean, he's fully fit and in his best possible form. So we are giving him an opportunity to get back home, fully rehab, strengthen up in the areas of concern, and as well get his game back to tip-top shape.
On the other hand, Pramal, who was the best aggregate for a spinner during the Professional Cricket League, got a test recall after 5 years. Since the inception of the franchise-based 4-day tournament, Pramal has been leading wicket taker on 3 occasions: in the 2014-2015 season, 2017-2018 season, and the 2019-2020 season, while he finished second in the 2018 and 2019 season, and third in the 2016-2017 season, and fifth in the 2015-2016 season. Despite close to 300 wickets in the last 6 seasons, the former West Indies A captain has only appeared in 2 test matches during this period, both in 2015 against England and Australia in the Caribbean. Pramal has been overlooked this year for tours to England and New Zealand. Both tours, they were reserve test players travelling with the squad.
As you realize, we are heading to Bangladesh, where I think conditions are most likely to assist the spin bowlers. And this was an opportunity for Pramal, who's consistently done very well at the regional level and had an excellent regional 4-day championship in the last one. His performance, I think he took 50 wickets, so this is his opportunity. And you'd notice that we have 3 spinners in the squad. So, you know, I think that was a natural and easy choice to make. And we look forward to him really doing his thing there in Bangladesh and performing at the same sort of high level that he's done at the regional level.
West Indies arrived in Bangladesh on January 10th, after which they played 3 one-day internationals from January 20th to the 25th, followed by 2 tests which start on February 3rd and the 11th. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
And with cricket activities set to resume in early 2021, the Guyana Jaguars players will undergo fitness assessment activities from Monday, January 4 at the LBI ground on the east coast of Demerara. The Guyana Cricket Board, in a press release on Tuesday, indicated that the fitness assessment will be for contracted franchise players as well as potential academy players. The assessment of potential academy players is essential since Cricket Guyana Inc. intends to contract players for the remainder of the 2020-2021 regional season. Additionally, with the Cricket West Indies Regional Super 50 set for February 2021, the franchise players will be engaged in 3 practice games from which the Guyana Jaguars squad will be selected. Those games will be on January 8, 10 and 12 at the LBI ground. Now, the lucrative table tournament dubbed Stars on Show has returned for its 3rd year, and organizer Dexter George is expecting some thrilling action given the void of cricket due to the pandemic. The tournament has been approved by the National COVID-19 Task Force and will be played at Durban Park on January 1 and 3. Additionally, captain of the defending champions Anthony Adams said they're out to retain their crown.
Over the last 2 years, we've seen some really good cricket. Last year's tournament, for example, we had teams scoring over 106 occasions, and I think that was really good. And I think out of those 6 occasions, 4 of them were chased down. So the quality of the cricket is really good. We have some really good players, some really good teams, and most of those teams have already signaled their intention to be a part of the competition again. So this year we expect it to be no shortage of action.
Yeah, who some teams you expect to have some big rivalries in this competition?
Like I said, certainly the teams I'm personally anticipating to see go up against each other again. If it so happens, it will definitely be the Village Rams versus the Echoes All-Star. Last 2 years they've had some really good rivalries, and even in other tournaments too, they seem to have this thing for each other. Some of the other teams expected to be a part of the tournament and to do well. It would be the Tarmac All-Stars, we have the Dream 11, we have the Corruption. But we also have a number of underdog teams that I think can really spring some surprises and do well in this tournament. The first prize is 120,000 with the runner-up pocket in 60,000, sorry. So we expect teams to cash in and come on board. Some of the other incentives we have with the Mali match in the final, he will pocket $5,000, and also only yesterday we had a sponsor coming on board to add to that with a base box. So not only will the Mali match final receive $5,000, but you'll also be given a speaker box as well. We also have our fastest forward to the tournament. Again, the winner will pocket 5,000 Guyana dollars. So yeah, we expect teams to turn out, and we expect it to be really competitive. Because a lot of persons are excited about the fastest forward, I can tell you that for sure. The registration fee is just 10,000 Guyana dollars. We have a few sponsors on board. With the whole COVID, we probably expecting a lot more, but I guess that's the way it goes. I think Handanan has been with us from the start. They're back with us again. We have 3S Legacy Fuel and Mining. They're located in the Maliruni River. They're on board with us. We also have PPDI. They've been with us too from the very start. We're pleased to have them back with us again. We have Aqua Sons and Water Design. We're lucky to have them as well. Banks DIH. We also have a few other sponsors on. So we're grateful for what we've been given so far.
It's very good to be back playing cricket no matter the format. So winners will be there to defend our title. More importantly, it's good to see that the tournament was approved by the COVID Task Force. So guys, remember to take the necessary precautions. Be safe, and I'll see you there.
Some international cricket news now. India beat Australia by 8 wickets with a day to spare in the second test in Melbourne to level the series. The hosts were bowled out for 200 early in the fourth day, leaving India needing only 70 to win at the MCG. Debutant Mohammad Siraj took 3 for 37, including Cameron Green, who offered some resistance in making 45 for Australia. India slipped a 19 for 2 before Shubman Gill, another debutant, and the stand-in captain Ajinkya Rahane saw them home. Gill, who made 45 in the first innings, finished unbeaten on 35, and man of the match Rahane followed up his first innings century with 27 not out. It was a remarkable turnaround for India, who were bowled out for 36 in an 8-wicket defeat in Adelaide just over a week ago. The third test of a thrilling 4-match series begins on January 6 in Sydney. And South Africa crushed Sri Lanka by an innings and 45 runs in the first test of the 2-match series at Centurion. Resuming on 65 for 2, Sri Lanka were bowled out for 180 before tea on day 4, despite 64 from Kusal Pereira. Fast bowler Lutu Simpala played him 2 for 24 on test debut, while Lungi Ngidi, Anrik Noike and Wayan Modler also took 2 wickets. Dadanjaya De Silva did not bat for Sri Lanka after injuring a calf in the first innings. Sri Lanka debutant Waninda Hasaranga, who took 4 for 171 in South Africa's Mammoth 621, made 59 from number 7, but the tourists never threatened to make South Africa bat again. The final test in Johannesburg starts on January 3. And finally, Tim Southee took his 300th test wicket as New Zealand closed in on victory over Pakistan in the first test at Mount Maunganui. Southee claimed 2 for 15 as Pakistan ended day 4 on 71 for 3 in pursuit of an unlikely 373 for victory. Earlier, Tom Blundell made 64 and Tom Layton 53 as New Zealand declared on 180 for 5. Southee, 32, is the third New Zealander to take 300 test wickets after Richard Hadley and Daniel Vettori. Pakistan, faced with batting for 4 sessions to save the game, slipped to 0-2 inside 3 overs before surviving the remainder of the penultimate day. Scores in the match so far: New Zealand 431 and 180 for 5 declared, Pakistan 239 and 71 for 3. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, Newsroom.gy, our Facebook page and Instagram. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.